Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and here we talk about books, reading, and writing. Today we're going to be talking about BookTok books, or just books that I found on BookTok that I think are 100% worth it and I think you should give a try if you haven't already. I went through all of the books that I've read and I tried to find ones that I found on BookTok that I really loved, and most of them are literary fiction. I have 3 romances and then 1 thriller. So we're gonna start with the literary fiction slash general fiction. Before I start, I'm not going to be going into a lot of plot details. I'm just gonna mention things that I think you should know because I feel like these are really popular and really well known, and I don't think I need to explain what they're about. Also because I've already explained most of these books on this channel before. The first one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is a Greek mythology retelling of Achilles and Patroclus. If you like Greek mythology whatsoever, you think it's interesting in any way, read this book. It is so beautifully written. The romance, the love story in this book is so beautiful. I almost cried. People cry about this book all the time. I see it on TikTok all the time. I think it was really well done, and I think it's a great retelling of the story of Achilles. Next is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. If you have not heard of Ottessa Moshfegh and you want to get into the weird girl lit, this is a great place to start. This is one of the first weird kind of books that I read that kind of got me into that subgenre of literary fiction. I have almost read all of Ottessa's books. I really like her writing. This is about a girl who thinks that she can avoid her problems by sleeping for a year with pills, different substances, just constantly trying to go back to sleep. It's really interesting and funny, and I think everybody should give it a try. It's pretty controversial. A lot of people think she's insufferable, the main character, and they don't really like her, but I thought it was really funny because obviously it's not supposed to be serious. And if you haven't read it already, give it a try. Speaking of unlikable main characters, we have Yellowface. This book is so very popular on BookTok, or was, whenever I first got onto BookTok. R.F. Kuang's writing is so good in this book, and I really enjoyed it, even though June, the main character, is very insufferable. This book is about June and Athena. They're kind of friends, not really. June doesn't really like Athena. Athena doesn't really take June seriously. They both want to be writers, but only one of them really makes it out of school, and that is Athena. She is pretty famous from her writing, and then June is kind of left behind. So whenever Athena dies right in front of June, June decides and convinces herself that it's fine. She takes her manuscripts and all of her notebooks and everything, and she puts that into her own manuscript, edits it a little bit, retouches it, and publishes it as her own work. And throughout the whole book, Athena's ghost basically comes back to haunt her, and it is so good, and I really recommend this book. Next is definitely one of the most known BookTok books. We have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and if you haven't read this somehow, you just have to read it. This is a story of Evelyn Hugo, who used to be really famous in Hollywood. She was an actress. It follows her for, I think, 30 years, and her 7 marriages, and her one true love. And this book is so beautiful and so good. If you somehow haven't read it, you need to. I really like Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing, and this had me gripped from the first page. Couldn't put it down. Read it in 2 days. So good. Perfect book to read during the summer, I think. Next we have Normal People by Sally Rooney. This was the first book by Sally Rooney that I read. I only have Intermezzo left, but Normal People is a very messy, sticky love story, which it's not. I don't know if I would even call it a love story. It's about 2 normal people who find their way back to each other through just a bunch of crap. It's very emotional, but also at the same time it feels like you're numb reading it because it's just so much happening, and the characters, the way that they handle things is so strange. I don't know. I can only describe the feeling I had reading this as like a very weird, numb feeling, but in a good way. I still think about this book and I really, really, really enjoyed it. And if you haven't read Sally Rooney, I think definitely a good place to start if you want to get into literary fiction. It says it's the story of mutual fascination, friendship, and love. I really recommend this book. Next is a book that I found from booktok, but I wouldn't classify it as like a booktok book, which that's not even a thing. That's not a real thing. It's just, these are just books that I found from booktok, but it just feels weird to classify this book as a booktok book because it's so much more than that and it's very important. It's called My Dark Vanessa. This book is about Vanessa. She's 15. She gets into a very disgusting relationship with her 42-year-old English teacher. He grooms her really, really bad, and it affects her through the rest of her life, and you see how it affects her. It is awful. It affects her decision making, the way she thinks, just terrible. And I think it's a really realistic story of what happens to people who go through this, and it's really gross and it feels very weird to read, but if you're okay with reading things like that, it's very, very important, and I think you should read this. If it won't terribly affect you to read a story about that, I think it's a really important book. And I'm glad that it blew up on booktok, at least the side that I'm on, because this book deserves to be read. Then we have a book that I have talked about in literally every video I've made, I think. Heart the Lover by Lily King. This is about, her name is not mentioned until the very end of this book, so I'm not going to say it, but she's nicknamed Jordan. That's not her name. She gets into a relationship with someone from one of her classes. His name is Sam. She starts to hang out with Sam and Yash, his roommate, and they become like a trio. She realizes Sam is not the best person in general. He kind of sucks. And she kind of falls into a relationship with Yash, and it's very, very messy, but it's really beautiful and really, really good. It's a really well written book, and I'm really inspired by Lily King's writing, and the way she can write so simply and just convey a beautiful story is really impressive. And if you have not read Writers and Lovers and Heart the Lover, definitely read those books. This book is the beginning of the story when Jordan is in college, and then it is Writers and Lovers. That is the middle part of her life, and then the second half of this book is Jordan after Writers and Lovers, if that makes sense. So it's like Heart the Lover, Writers and Lovers, and then the rest of Heart the Lover. Does that make sense? So it's like a prequel slash sequel to Writers and Lovers. But I read this book first. You can do either one. Technically, Writers and Lovers comes first because it was published first, but in the story, this comes first. Technically. Very good book. One of my favorite books of all time now. I recommend this book to literally everyone I talk to. Then we have the only thriller in this stack, The Silent Patient. This is the only thriller that has really got me good. I don't want to say anything about it because I don't want to spoil anything. You should go into it blind. But the twist on this story got me so good. I gasped out loud. And I don't think a thriller has gotten me like that in a long, long time. And I really don't read thrillers, but I saw this all over booktok so many times, I just had to pick it up. Next, we have a romance, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This book is becoming a movie, and I'm really excited about it. I don't read romance books, and this was so cheesy, but I loved it. I really, really liked it, and I liked the feeling that it gave me while I was reading it. It was lighthearted, cute little romance, and it's like a fake dating kind of trope, and I really enjoyed it. So coming from someone that doesn't like romance books just in general, I really liked this. So if you haven't read The Love Hypothesis yet, definitely check it out. I really like Allie Hazelwood's writing, so I guess she's one of my favorite romance authors because, you know, I don't really read romance. Lastly, we have Every Summer After and One Golden Summer. Perfect to read during summer. This one is about one of the brothers and a girl, Percy, that they meet when they're little. So it's like childhood friends to lovers. And then this is the other brother. He meets someone when he's a little bit older, and he kind of avoids her after basically falling in love with her over the summer, and you just don't understand why. Every Summer After had a trope I didn't like, but other than that, it was really good. And then One Golden Summer was absolutely beautiful, and if you haven't read it, read these two during the summer. Those are all the books that I found from BookTok that I think are 100% worth it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!